Greetings! Here we are with another delightful video. This time it's going to cover Transformers, the role-playing game, beginner box, rollout. I grew up on Transformers from the 1980s, so I do really enjoy the very classic art styles, the very classic representation of Megatron and Optimus Prime. And also, it's nice to have Windblade here, one of the newer Transformers in recent years. So this is a tabletop role-playing game from Renegade Studios. I have not covered Renegade Studios before on this channel. I have not opened up any of their beginner boxes yet. I actually technically own both of the beginner boxes. They have a beginner box for their Transformers role-playing game, as well as their beginner box for their G.I. Joe boot camp game. Oddly enough, they don't have a beginner box for the Power Rangers role-playing game, in more their Overlight role-playing game, or I can't remember what that's called again. It's one of their older ones. But anyways, here we go. First and foremost, what's in this box? You got a 32-page playing the game booklet, a 28-page first adventure, a 32-page second adventure, 8 pre-generated characters, a set of Transformers dice, and a GM screen. You know how much I love GM screens in starter sets. This comes with a GM screen. It is a standard size starter set beginner box. So I'm curious as to how much dead space is inside of it, as it is typically standard for most beginner boxes or starter boxes from most companies, with the exception of, say, like Paizo and the few other companies that use smaller size boxes. Paizo does not use smaller size boxes. They just fill up their regular size boxes with extra stuff, but it results in them being very expensive. If I remember correctly, this beginner box is close to $40 in cost. Paizos are straight up $40 outright. So here we go. I'll lift the lid. It's a tight fit. First and foremost, it is an untreated box, so you are prone to moisture damage if someone happens to be using it as a dice tray, and it will dent easily. You have a set of standard dice. You got 2 D20s, a D8, a D12, a D10, a D6, and a D4, as well as a token with the Autobot symbol on it. The box here, you have a sheet here that is covering what is in the box and welcoming you to the system, as well as on the back side has a QR code and advertisement for various Transformers products, as well as their My Little Pony tabletop role-playing game and their Power Rangers and G.I. Joe game. I folded that so it doesn't show you the QR code, because I don't want you pulling stuff off the QR code. This is the first book, the Playing the Game Guide. It's a saddle-bound book. It is, I already told you how many pages it has. You have Autobots on the cover. All the classic 1980s Generation 1 Autobots. Nice red border back. You know, it's really interesting that typically red is usually used as the color of the villains. Yet in the case of Transformers, it's actually the color of the good guys. Text is nice, big and clear on the table of contents, but it appears to be a very simple table of contents. It goes over what is a role-playing game, role-playing games and safety, being a player, being a game master, explains the dice. Actually, the token is actually a D2. So it's not a die, it's a D2. So I presume that the backside is a Decepticon. Yes, it is. Can hardly see the purple under there, but you can see it. So we have some fun here with people playing in the Transformers. Example of play. What is the setting like? What are Transformers? Make the game feel more like Transformers. It goes over the basic structure of the character sheets. The character sheets look fairly simple overall. It denotes which die is applied to what skill, like acrobatics, driving, finesse, infiltration, initiative, and targeting. The different skills are, much like Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, are tied to an attribute. So you have, for strength, you have athletics, brawn, conditioning, intimidation, and might. For speed, you have acrobatics, driving, finesse, infiltration, initiative, and targeting. For smarts, you have alertness, culture, science, survival, and technology. And for social skills, you have animal handling, deception, performance, persuasion, and streetwise. You have your basic information down here for your combat skills, naming of your different weapons or attacks, the ranges, attack power, effects, notes on it, the various health here, whether it's toughness, evasion, willpower, or cleverness. And then you have a key over here for your various dice. And basic information up here for your character, perk list down there. Part of me is creepingly is concerned that the perk list is in this back, for this little corner right here is rather short. But they do a nice job of explaining it on the, looks like they explain it on the other page. You have essences and skills. Yet again, it explains, this character sheet and the information on the character sheet tells you what's associated with what skill, what attribute is tied to what's a skill. And then it explains the skills here with the attributes. And then it has defenses, story points, gaining story points, spending story points. Explains Energon, how to convert, as in to transform from one form or another. Pets and drones, such as cassette players and cassettes and stuff like that. Commanding a pet or drone. Influence, origin, roll. Influences and hangups, origin, rolls, perks. When to roll a skill test instruction. It's really nice that they actually, right here in the box, they actually write it out, the process of doing a specialization or a skill check. So a standard how to make a skill test is roll a d20 plus highest skill die equals skill test result. So if you have a skill test die, your skill for your skill die happens to be, say, like a d6, you roll a d20 plus your d6 and you get a result. And that's actually fairly simple in itself. The hard part is remembering which one you have assigned to in the first few sessions and getting past that little bump. You have successes and failures on that. Rules, critical success, types of tests, basic tests, contested tests, tests against the defense, group tests, laid assistance, basically helping action, dice shift leader. So basically, you have various levels of success depending on where your result lands in relationship to something, like a DC or against a contested test player roll. Upshift and downshift, which I basically heard is basically essentially their version of advantage and disadvantage. Edge and snag. Daily interactions. I do really like the fact that each little section is very clearly laid out. Big text for a header, a little section for our text, get your point across. This is, after all, a starter beginner box, so it lends itself to being very simple and to the point. Shouldn't be overly fluffy. You have a section on equipment and weapons. It goes over the essentials such as unarmed attacks, small melee, heavy melee, pistol, rifle, assault rifle, submachine gun, long-range rifle, grenade, and rocket launcher. And it just gives you an example item for it. You know, like Unarmed attack is a kick, a small melee is a knife, a heavy melee is a sledgehammer, and so forth. Various sizes related to each one. Skills that are associated with that type of attack, such as unarmed attacks are tied to athletics, finesse, or might. So you can choose to roll your athletics with your d20 to do an unarmed attack, or if you have good might score, you can roll your might die with your d20 to get your effect. And then it tells you range, effects, and traits. You have various kits and other gear. Basic combat rules such as initiative, surprise rules, resetting your initiative, combat actions, a free action list, movement, standard actions, how to attack, reach, and range. Size differences between characters, other standard actions, damage and healing. Essence damage, damaging objects, healing, conditions, other combat factors. Defeat, ending a fight. Then you have rules on vehicles. So apparently, Transformers ride vehicles. But of course, technically they can also transform into vehicles too. How to be a game master section, which is nice. Looks to be a little on the short side. I would very much like it if it was a little bit longer than that, with more advice. Yeah, it's really basic stuff on the Game Master side. So that leads to a question of... And the advanced tips are really short. Oops. Renegade Studios likes to really stick all those QR codes everywhere. This is the first adventure, Troubled Waters. And the second one is Time Is Now. So, this is Trouble Is Now, and Adventure, Troubled Waters. You have a blue background on this, so you actually have a clear differentiation between the core rulebook and the adventure books in color theme. You have a nice little simple map there. Another simple map for a on-bridge combat, various seekers in the sky, flying about and attacking various things. Looks fairly basic. You have Acid Storm here, stat block. Alertness is a D6 for him. Athletics is D2. Deception is D4. Driving, which is a flying, for him is a D6. Looks pretty clear and simple. And then we have Heat Seeker Drone, Decepticon Seeker Rookie, which is a generic Decepticon, Decepticon Seeker Scout, Skywarp. He should have his teleportation ability. Yep, he has his teleportation ability. From what I can make, it is 3 a scene standard, so we can at least do it 3 times in a scene. Or in basically an encounter, as far as I can understand the terminology. Aerial superiority is a perk. Earlier is better than later. Mode conversion, roll with it. And then we have Thundercracker. No Starscream. But they do have artwork for Starscream, though. That's nice. They probably saved Starscream for the big time. Thundercracker and Skywarp are basically his right-hand and left-hand guy. He's that usually accompany him in most conflicts. And then we have Adventure, The Time Is Now, which basically has Soundwave, Ratbat, and Laserbeak on the cover. You do know I actually know my Transformers a good bit, particularly the classic ones. I'm unfamiliar with that one, though. It must be a newer one. Looks fairly clear and obvious. This is an adventure that involves Soundwave, apparently. Indeed. But it has giant organic snakes. You have Blaze Wake, and Buzzsaw. That was actually Buzzsaw, not Laserbeak. Got the wrong colors for the two. De-evolved Whiptail. Amenaconda. Spike Strip. Okay, that's what her name is. Spike Strip. Thrasher. Truth Founders. Wing Thing. Yeah, that's Wing Thing. Okay. Alrighty, we have for character sheets, we got Hound, which is a classic. I'm quite sure people want to play Hound. Aileron. Beachcomber. Very classic 1980s art style. Nova Star. Anode. Springer. And Gauge. So basically all pretty much mostly the B squad for Transformers with some C squad mixed in. Smokescreen. I think I forgot to mention Smokescreen. Yeah. It's basically the B squad with some C squad. And some new faces. Let's look at Hound. You have basically play Hound if you want to defend your allies. You're quick to action when things go wrong, or at your best when rough places. In rough places as you hunt down Decepticons and avoid terrain penalties. Want to carry a big gun, Hound's rocket launcher. This is a folio style. It explains all the basic stuff right here. Say like your character name, origin, influence, role, focus, essence, skills, perks, attacks, gear, bonds, hang up, alt mode, and leveling up instructions. So no level right here. So this is a level system. That's neat in itself. So you basically have the character name up here. You got your basic information for your character, with their origin and what kind of class and stuff like that. Your basic stats. Right down here is your skills. You got your perks, which are basically feats. You got your attacks, gear, hard points, bonds, hang-ups, alt mode information right here. And on the back side is just your standard player character sheet for the character, with the circles tabbed in for where you are in what you have for each weapon, each skill, as well as what weapons you have here down here. You got a pistol, you got a ram, and a rocket launcher. Range for pistol, reach for ram. Basically, I think you just ram into something, like drive into it, and then you got range for your range. 1 damage, 2 damage for rocket launcher. Small size worker pod mode only. Alt effect. Oh yeah, ram is definitely what I predicted it was. He drives straight into whatever he wants. Little spot for your level up when you level it up. That's handy dandy. I'm gonna skip all the others. I might do that again in the future. And then we have, oh my goodness, this is not a cheapo Game Master screen. Usually when I say like I would like a Game Master screen in my starter boxes, I was literally talking about just a cardstock Game Master screen. But this is actual book cardboard or board game grade cardboard Game Master screen. It's a 3-panel though, which is, you know, if you're gonna stick a Game Master screen in, I'm in the opinion that even a really small, really simple, bare bones, the basic Game Master screen is better than no Game Master screen at all. And even if it was just hard cardstock, that it's just a hard cardstock like this, a bigger piece 3-panel of this, that would be good. But this is like, oh my goodness, this is nice. You have information on your Game Master screen. You got nice little artwork here of the main line. You got also Grimlock over here too. Cool. Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Windblade, and my goodness, I want to say Wheeljack. Yeah, that's Wheeljack. Sometimes I mentally mess up and mix Wheeljack with Ratchet every so often. But then I have to like look at the head and like, yeah, they're both healers and they're both scientifically inclined, but but yeah, you got as a standard issue in most TTRPGs, conditions are always like listed on the leftmost hand side. It's the most important thing. You got asleep, blinded, cover, deaf, immobilized, prone, and unconscious. You have your Energon rules here. Action options in combat. Standard, move, and free action. You got 2 free actions apparently, which is weird. You have 2 free actions. It's nice that they quantify how many free actions you have. But anyways, you have combat actions, skill list, by your attribute, how to make a skill tests by type, and it explains the dice shift ladder. So when you go up or down on a ladder, you got dice modifiers, upshift, downshift, edge, snag, fumble, critical success. You got spending story point rules for healing. Your standard size is chart for various things. An attack in different sized foes modifier. That's pretty nice with references to the shifting mechanic. So if you attack something that is smaller or bigger than you, you shift up and down on this range. My goodness. Let me think here. You got a Game Master screen. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. You have really nice character sheets. Full color. You have a regular character sheet that's already filled out on the back side. You can actually copy this in a printer and maybe edit out some of the details and reuse this over and again for more games. If you have rules for making characters some other way, other than the core rulebook, but I suggest probably getting the core rulebook. You got a good overview of the character on the front that gives you the gist of who they are. You got explanations on all their mechanics on the inside here, and a simple table. It even explains basic leveling up. If you want to go from level 1 to level 2 or to level 3, increase your stats by such and such thing. That's nice. It gives you like 3 levels. You've got your first level, second level, third level, which is more than enough to get a person to get the basic gist of the system. You have 2 adventures that come with it that are not super long, from what I can tell from just paging through them, with iconic characters and some new characters mixed in, which is a nice blend. You want to have a little bit of iconic characters and some new characters mixed in just to change things up. You got a standard set of dice, but you also got a D2 here, which is basically a token you can flip for stuff. You got a playing the game guide, which is a combination of a player's book, player's basic rules book, and a game master book. But the game master book is literally just basic advice. All the real game master stuff is inside the adventures themselves. So I'm not going to dig it for having some game master stuff in there, because the game master stuff that's in there is the super basic stuff, just general advice. And all the real important stuff is in the adventures. You have a nice little sheet right here that also includes advertisement that shows you the other products in the line, and as well as other stuff that overlaps. And there's also a crossover adventure between Transformers and Power Rangers, which is cool in itself. My goodness. I think this is only in the $30. I think it's $34.95 last time I checked. Overall, my general feeling is I love the absolute fact that there is a Game Master screen in here, which makes the job so much easier to learn a system and teach the system to other players, because the Game Master has to teach themselves, and then the players have to pick up whatever they can. But the Game Master is the person who needs to adjudicate and make sure that everyone is on the same general page on mechanics as you're running along. So anything in a starter set or a beginner box or whatever you want to call it that helps the Game Master more, either by giving tools to the players to keep track of their stuff so the Game Master has to worry about their stuff less, or gives Game Master more easy access to all the basic rules that they need to run the system, is awesome. This happens to be, I'm just going to give it right out. It's a 4.5 star. The only thing that would improve this would be some kind of cards or something, or sheets that have rules references for the players or something like that, or tokens for the enemies, and maybe little maps. That would definitely bump it up to that 4.75 range. But this is like top tier. The only companies that make beginner boxes or starter boxes that are on this level of quality is Paizo and Chaosium. Those two companies are the best in the business when it comes to starter sets and beginner boxes. So we are now sitting in the territory where we have 3 companies at the top for that, and then we have Free League Publishing that's taking up 4th place. That kind of bounces around. Like, some of their starter sets seem to be really basic and some of them are really high quality. And then you have a few other companies that are kind of like a weird mix in there that kind of jump around. But if the G.I. Joe box is this level of quality or better, I'm actually loving Renegade. I really want them to do a beginner box for the My Pony game, as well as a beginner box for their Power Rangers game, because that would be freaking awesome. And I do have people that would be really interested in playing the Power Rangers game, and we're actually talking about it. So that is it's actually a strong contention for running another game besides Dungeons and Dragons, Call of Cthulhu, or Pathfinder. So thank you very much for watching this video. Yeah, I absolutely recommend this box. If you are interested in Transformers, or you want to play something that is not Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu, I would definitely look into this Transformers role-playing game from Renegade Studios. They seem to have done a really good job. I'm going to go ahead and order a bunch of the other stuff now, just because how well this turned out. I'm just gonna order it. Once I have enough money in my budget to do it, I'm just gonna order the core rulebook, the Game Master kit, and all the other stuff. So there you go. I'm actually really interested in the quality of the material from Renegade Studio now. This is the first thing I've ever opened up of Renegade Studios, those products, and I'm actually seriously impressed with it. I really do like how they arrange everything on the box, making it very clear that you do get a really good value, and you can easily see what you get in the box. The Game Master screen, the 2 adventure books, as well as the core rulebook. The core rulebook opened up, the dice, as well as the character sheets, all splayed out nicely, and they even listed over here. And they definitely state that it's G1 Warrior Hound, the Treasure Hunt at Energon, and a few other things on the back. So there you go. I'm really excited now for this Transformers game. So if you want to watch any more of these videos, I got a ton of videos on my YouTube channel, crossing all kinds of TTRPGs, from Dungeons and Dragons all the way to the most obscure stuff, and the OSR as well. And And I will be continuing to cover way more stuff in the future. As you can see here, I got Elder Scrolls Call to Arm, which is actually more of a skirmish game. The Walking Dead universe, G.I. Joe, the role-playing game. Zombie World. I got Animal Adventures. Arkham Horror role-playing game. Warhammer Wrath and Glory 2nd Edition. Dreams and Machines, and much, much more back there. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I actually have the core set for Warhammer Fantasy 3rd Edition, which is basically like sells for like almost $200 depending on where you want to buy it from. It's an older edition. It's literally a box like this thick of it. It's still in the wrap. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time. Ciao.